It's time for another blistering report from the front lines of the cultural war for a constitutional America. And now, here's your host, Charles Benninghoff.
Insiders in the Trump White House say that Senator John McCain of Arizona is the treasonous leaker of our government's topmost secrets. If true, McCain deserves to be executed by a 99-soldier firing squad, in my humble opinion. Why 99? Well, 7 may not just do it the first time. As reported on the conservative news site, True Pundit, John McCain's recent public statements lead the White House staffers to firmly conclude that John McCain has heard the contents of President Trump's private, classified phone calls with world leaders. And if you know his staffers have done it, then for sure the president has done it. It is believed that McCain is listening in on the president's phone calls and that he is one of the primary leaks, if not the sole leak, who is giving the contents of those presidential phone calls to the media. We know that the long-standing chairman of the Armed Forces Services Committee, McCain, certainly has 100% control over all secret information, all government top-secret activities, all of the U.S. spies in the Pentagon and Defense Department controls, as well as everything else that you can imagine could possibly flow from the White House. McCain's position is the top most sensitive position in the United States, apart from the president himself, and even more important than the vice president. As well, McCain directly controls all agencies and every employee of such agency that has the capability of hacking the president's phone calls. Not only that, but McCain, as you know, has been one of the leading critics of President Trump and has been working to stall Mr. Trump's America First agenda in the United States Senate. Why? Because he's a globalist. I don't even think he's an American citizen anymore in heart and mind. He certainly doesn't support our Constitution. So, I'm calling for John McCain to be impeached. McCain must be impeached for this treasonous action. We the people are going to impeach him. I'm going to work nonstop without delay to achieve this goal. This is so vitally important to our nation that I want to offer you the opportunity to participate in this campaign absolutely without cost. I'll let you know how you can use our system to send a personal letter to the president, as well as demanding that John McCain be impeached and removed from office, so stay tuned. Now, let's get up to speed. Last week, I reported on the leaks coming out of the federal government. You can easily find that video on my YouTube playlist. Someone was recording the president's phone calls and had leaked private classified conversations between Trump and the presidents of Mexico and Australia, and that leak went directly to the media. That's treasonous activity, and people go to jail for leaking things to the press as long as their case is not heard by an Obama-appointed judge, I would imagine. As long as it's an American judge, that's where they should end up. And I'm again saying globalists are not Americans because they don't support the Constitution and they don't believe in our Bill of Rights. They don't believe in our national boundaries. They don't believe in our nation. They think the United States should be an unincorporated county held and controlled by the United Nations. And that description is applicable to Obama. So we're not talking about something based upon his birth. We're not talking about his citizenship. We're not talking about the fact that he was born in Hawaii or Kenya or some other place. It is his current set of beliefs. Globalists, by very definition, know no national boundaries. So how can someone who's a globalist be a citizen of a nation? It can't happen. Well, something very strange happened last week that set the Trump White House on edge. You'll get a big kick out of this. A YouTube video surfaced of a young Russian comedian who placed a prank call to Senator McCain's office. The comedian posed as the Ukraine Prime Minister, and he got McCain on the phone for an 11-minute recorded conversation. And then this young comedian posted the entire conversation on YouTube as a comic video. Yes, The prank caller is obviously a kid in his 20s. You can tell by his voice and his mannerisms. And yet McCain refers to him over and over again in this recording as my dear friend, as if he'd known this comedian for years. McCain reveals secret information to the prankster in this phone call. Information that the Pentagon will be sending lethal defense weapons to the Ukraine later this year to fight Vladimir Putin. How you like that for being a traitor? A Benedict Arnold right in our midst. A United States senator telling our nation's top secrets over a public, that means not secure, a public telephone line to a young Russian comedian. It doesn't get any worse than that. I can't believe it. And he basically says if President Trump doesn't play ball with McCain's bizarre desire to impose new sanctions on Russia, that he, McCain, will take charge of a campaign in Congress to take legislative action against the president. Does that mean he's going to try to impeach the president? Well, wait till you hear the rest of this video. You won't believe it. So let's start by just listening to this conversation that was recorded by the young Russian jokester. And this excerpt of Arizona Senator John McCain will absolutely curl your toes. Here we go.
We plan to make new sanctions against Russia because of hacking attacks. We want to make the same law in our parliament.
I have to be very frank with my friend, the Prime Minister, and that is that I do not know what the President is going to do. At least in the beginning, he's not been specific, but apparently for now, he is not for removing sanctions. As you know, we in the Senate and Congress have stated if that he relaxes those sanctions, we will act legislatively. That won't be easy, but we will certainly make that effort.
Of course.
It is a fact that Vladimir Putin tried to affect the outcome of our election. I will keep you informed as I hear of the decisions that are made by the White House.
As I told you last year, FBI counterintelligence agents testified to Congress that there's no evidence that Vladimir Putin, the Russian government, or any Russian hackers tried to affect the outcome of the last election. But John McCain is towing the Democrat Party line for his good friend Hillary Clinton. At least that's what he does when he thinks he's on the phone with foreign leaders, even if those foreign leaders are young pranksters. John McCain is careless with national security. He leaks top secret information to a prank caller. This guy has got to go. McCain is such a doddering old fool that he cannot tell when he's talking to a kid in his 20s, posing as a Ukraine prime minister, or he's actually talking to the janitor. And how about that threat that McCain issues to the President of the United States? McCain says that if President Trump relaxes sanctions against Russia, Congress will act legislatively. Sounds like impeachment to me. What do you think? Well, guess what, Senator McCain? We, the people, want to see you impeached for the treasonous act of leaking the president's phone calls to the media, which caused great harm to the White House and weakened America's foreign policy. Because now that we know people in our own Senate and government employ are leaking White House telephone calls, what leader of the world will call the President of the United States? Thanks, McCain, for destroying our foreign image. Well, just for fun, I've also posted 2 documents on our action page today, courtesy of WikiLeaks, the hero of the internet, WikiLeaks. Sort of like a chant, WikiLeaks, WikiLeaks, WikiLeaks. Well, you got to read these things, and that means you got to go to our action page. You don't have to do anything with our action page except read these documents. We weren't going to post them on YouTube because it's possible it could be removed. They're so scurrilous. So the first one is a letter that Senator McCain sent to the Russian ambassador in New York City begging for money in September of 2008 for his then presidential campaign. Now, even if he didn't personally authorize it, and can you imagine anyone so stupid to hire people in their campaign who would ask a foreign government for political donations? Now, either this means that Senator McCain is absolutely crooked and corrupt, or he hires people who are. The second document is the angry letter that the Russian ambassador sent back to Senator McCain, reminding him that the Russian government does not donate money to foreign political campaigns because it's illegal, against the law. Look, I too, like McCain, am a Vietnam combat veteran. I saw 2 years of action in Vietnam, including a full year in-country, fighting in the canals, the rivers, and the waterways on a PBR. That's the small river patrol boat that was featured in Apocalypse Now. So, we had some harrowing times going up and down those little rivers. I never saw any spears chucked at us, but we got enough hot ammo our way to make it memorable. I also know that McCain was beaten severely about the head and shoulders when he was shot down as a combat pilot over Vietnam at the same time. I also visited in Hanoi when I was there in 1991, the Hanoi Hilton prison camp, where McCain was incarcerated for years. Indeed, I entered one of the cells where he was imprisoned, or at least that's what my Vietnamese government-supplied interpreter told me. While I've never been beaten, nevertheless, I went through some pretty technical issues arising out of my service in Vietnam. I am of the belief that McCain is suffering from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder with late onset, something that happens all too often to combat soldiers and sailors. So America needs to get rid of McCain and his Russian bugaboo. Maybe that's the bugaboo that came out of that cell in the Hanoi Hilton that he's living with every night. We need to kick McCain out of the Senate and do so now, not only because of his valor and combat experience, but in order to save what precious little dignity the man now has remaining. So please join me in this effort to rid America of a warped soldier gone missing and help keep America's secrets what they should be. Secret! So here's how you can help. Go to our action page today. Bob Mallory will have instructions on the next screen describing how you can get there. You can send a personal letter to President Trump calling for the impeachment of John McCain for leaking classified information to the media without cost, free, 100%, no dinero, not necessary. And you can also send it to the Senate and the House. Whichever program you choose is of your liking. So I'll pick up the tab for your letter to the president. Or, for a small fee, you can send letters to the president and the House Judiciary Committee asking that articles of impeachment be filed against John McCain. John McCain has grown into be a globalist. As I said so many times, globalists believe in no borders, no constitution, that America should be an unincorporated county of the United Nations. And globalists are enemies of America. And for many years, this has been McCain's position. His support for UN gun confiscation treaties, his support for open borders, his support for job-killing trade deals like the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and amnesty for illegal aliens. It's time for McCain to go. Let's kick him the hell out of the Senate. Kick him out for good. Kick him out for his own good. But kick him out for America's good. This is Charles Benninghoff signing off and wishing you freedom, fulfillment, and God's many blessings.
If you're on our action page on our website, use the form next to the video screen to select a program and send personal letters to Congress. If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, click the icon appearing now to find the link to our action page, or check the video's description to find the link. Speak out today.